A guy who's a hero has finally defeated the Demon King, and now the world is at peace. But he's in a cemetery visiting someone's grave, thinking if only he had been faster. So we go back to what happened before he got here. In the kingdom of Alderia at the royal capital, today was supposed to be the chosen hero's departure ceremony, and they're all waiting for him to arrive. Some people are having doubts if he can really defeat the Demon King. A guy with white hair and a white mustache said there's no need for them to be concerned about that, because as the Demon King rises, so too shall the chosen hero emerge to vanquish him. They believe in the prophecy of the chosen hero who will rise and answer the call. And they can count on him. Their hero is chosen by the heavens, his name is Albus Stride. Everyone praised Albus even though he hasn't arrived yet. The king asked if he's here already. His messenger told him that they had already received a report from the guards that, apparently, the hero had already departed, which shook the king. At the northern castle gate, a girl wanted to go inside the castle. But she's not entirely sure yet if she's going to go or not. The guards just ignored her until one of the guards got annoyed by her actions. So he asked her if there's an invisible wall blocking her, and the girl was startled when she heard the guard talk. She immediately apologized. The girl introduced herself. Her name is Fiona Umel, a cleric, and she has come from the northern countryside. The guard was just annoyed, that's why he asked her what's wrong. Fiona said she's hoping she could join the hero's party. The guard told her that if she's really planning on joining the Demon King's subjugation party, then she should hurry to the castle now. The king's royal hall is full of eager candidates right now, and the hero will personally select his party members for this quest. But Fiona suddenly changed her mind and thought maybe she shouldn't bother going. She thinks that someone like her probably won't be chosen anyway, and even if she were chosen, she probably wouldn't be of any use to the party. The guard just stared at her, thinking maybe she's right about that. But the other guard told her there's no harm in showing up, though Fiona's afraid that she'll probably just embarrass herself. Suddenly, a guy riding an open carriage was about to exit the castle gate. Then he grabbed Fiona's hoodie and immediately put her in his carriage, which caught the guards off guard. They didn't know how they should react, and Fiona just stared at them in disbelief. Finally, they reacted, thinking that the guy was a kidnapper. So they stopped the guy for kidnapping Fiona in plain sight. But then the guy showed them something that looked like an amulet. The guards looked at it and recognized that it's the hero's insignia. Fiona was also shocked about it. Who would have thought that the guy was actually the chosen hero, Albus Stride? Fiona screamed in disbelief. She asked Albus what's going on here. Of course, Albus had no choice but to tell her about it. He looked at her and asked if she wanted to join his party. Meanwhile, in the royal capital, the people are still waiting for the chosen hero, but the king has already received the message that Albus will just skip the ceremony because it's a total waste of time. So now, Albus has finally begun his journey to defeat the Demon King, and his only party member is Fiona. She's still in shock about what happened, so much so that she's trembling, so Albus told her to start acting normally already because it's annoying. Fiona suddenly said that there's something not right here, because why would a hero like him want someone like her to join his party? Maybe this is some new scam aimed at rural folks, and now she's accusing him of being an imposter. So Albus threw something to her so she could take a look at it. Fiona sees that it's the hero's insignia. Albus told her that the archbishop gave it to him when he was 6 years old. Fiona was shocked that he just casually tossed it to her, especially since it's real. But Albus told her that it's nothing special and he'd rather not waste time on pointless arguments like this, because nothing is more valuable to him than time. He told her that they'll reach their destination by nightfall. They reached Blackscale Peak. Suddenly, Fiona noticed something and told Albus to hold on. She remembered that it's the mountain where the Blackwing Dragon resides. It's an S-rank monster, the strongest in this region. A normal route would avoid the mountain and go in any other direction, but she's confused why they're here. Albus laughed and said it's a shortcut and it's faster this way, while Fiona got so terrified and asked if he has a death wish or something. She also noticed that he's just wearing a simple traveler's starter set. She asked where his gear and armor are. Albus told her that he blew the budget on the horse and wagon, but it's a good horse, though. For Albus, mobility matters more than fancy armor, so now Fiona's worried about their situation. Fiona got mad and scolded him about his spending priorities, shortcuts, and also about kidnapping her earlier. Albus just laughed and told her to calm down because he didn't know she disliked that kind of person, and he apologized to her. Then Fiona asked him what exactly the reason was why he chose her as a party member. She's also curious if they had met somewhere before, too. Albus looked at her and said he'd tell her a story. 10 years ago, when he was still 5 years old, he received a revelation from some sketchy, weird dude claiming to be God's messenger. He told Albus that he's radiating main character energy for real and no cap, and that he's going to defeat the Demon King in the future. After the guy said that, their whole village lost their minds, and so began his journey as the chosen hero. His hero training became a daily grind for him to be prepared. He was also determined to prove his worth and gave all that he's got. Then finally, when everything felt ready, he hit the road. On his journey, he fought a lot of ferocious monsters. That journey took him 10 years. But when the day came and he fought the Demon King, he lost. Fiona was shocked upon hearing it. Albus said that he kept using area attacks with instant death effects. It was totally a joke against the Demon King. After that, he died. And suddenly, he was back on the day of departure once again. It didn't happen just once, it happened over and over again, like he's just repeating the journey to defeat the Demon King. As the chosen hero, he's cursed with this gift of power, and his death is the key to rewinding time. Fiona couldn't believe what she was hearing right now. So she asked if this loop would continue forever until he finally defeats the Demon King. Albus said that he has been through this 35 times already, and this will be his 36th time. In those times, he succeeded in defeating the Demon King once. His fastest record was 5 years, 3 months, and 21 days. Fiona was in total disbelief. She asked if it's true that he was able to defeat the Demon King. Albus said yes. So Fiona asked why the journey is still repeating. Albus said that he apparently committed suicide, which shocked Fiona even more. It took him 5 attempts to defeat the Demon King, but it also took him 13 years, it was too long. That day when he finally got the victory in hand, he rushed back to his village only to hear terrible news. He wanted to share this joy together with his family, but it was too late for that. His dog, which was the only family he had already died, his beloved dog named Lucky. Fiona was a little shocked that it was the only family he had. And just 4 years into his journey, he too had departed, so he realized that slow and steady wasn't good enough. He needs to go fast to avoid some tragedies like that. If he had been faster, the king could have still walked in a peaceful kingdom. The world tree up north wouldn't have been burned by the Demon King's army, and he could have saved so many lives if he'd just been faster. So these time loops got him thinking, and he started to get obsessed over the idea of a perfect timeline. And also, with each new best time, he gets this weird rush of excitement in his brain. Now Fiona thinks there's really something wrong with him. She asked him again why he chose someone like her. Albus had no choice but to explain it to her. But he noticed that something was coming. It was the Blackwinged Dragon, and it's now above them. Fiona started crying and thought this is it for them. She told Albus that they need to hide immediately. But he decided that they'll face it head-on, which shocked Fiona. He looked at her, smiling, and said she shouldn't worry because they have her special magic. Now it's time for them to face the dragon, and Fiona was shocked about his strategy. Albus just casually called the dragon standing at the top of the mountain. He told Fiona that he'll keep it busy while she waits for the right moment. And now the Blackwinged Dragon is about to attack Albus. Fiona had always dreamed of something. When she was little, she heard some people say that the hero was found in the eastern village and thought it was her chance to help the hero. And that dream has finally come true as she uses the one spell she's actually good at. Fiona used her sleep magic, snooze, and it knocked the Blackwinged Dragon out. Albus thought that the dragon's weak spot is that weird scale on its neck, and normally, it's a tough target to hit, but he wonders if it's still tough if it's asleep. Then Albus delivered his attack called Dragon Slash. He did it several times just to cut it properly, but it looked like that would be hard, so he told Fiona to do it again. Then he proceeded to do the Dragon Slash again. Fiona thinks she's really being useful to the hero as Albus is still busy cutting the dragon. Finally, they defeated it, and Albus told Fiona that what she did was pretty amazing, her sleep magic was something else. She thanked Albus for the compliment. Then Albus revealed to her that he first met her on the 6th loop of his journey, meaning he already knew her that well. But at first, he really thought she was just an ordinary cleric too. Fiona couldn't believe what she was hearing right now. After learning she had sleep magic, he realized that she possesses an incredible talent. Clerics who can put dragons to sleep are also quite rare. Albus said that he actually likes people who excel at one particular skill because being good at something is like a badge of honor showing how far you have come. And he has traveled with many companions too, but Fiona stands as his favorite, which is his honest assessment of her. After explaining all of that to Fiona, he asked her again if she still wants to join his party. Well, Fiona eventually agreed, and so their journey begins again. Albus also told her that this was actually their first major obstacle. And if that dragon had started with a fire breath, he's pretty sure they wouldn't have had a chance because their success rate was like 60 to 70%. Fiona asked if they're seriously just playing with odds here, because it sounded like they are. She finally confirmed that the chosen hero is a certified madman. Her name is Fiona Immer, and she's currently on a journey to defeat the Demon King alongside Albus Stride, the hero. They have arrived at their first town, and Albus said they'll be staying here for the day. He told Fiona that his personal record for defeating the Demon King is 5 years and 3 months, and now he wants to set 3 years as the goal for this loop. Fiona suddenly asked him a question, if his looping will finally end if they achieve that. Well, Albus isn't sure about that either. He's now going to exchange the materials they have extracted from the Grimwing for some gold, and he thinks they'll be getting around 5,000 for this, which got Fiona shocked. She can now finally eat something other than potatoes. Albus called her because there's something he wants to tell her. So Albus was serious about his goal. Suddenly, a woman approached them, but they just ignored her. But the woman just passed by them while murmuring something about her troubles. Fiona was about to ask the woman, but Albus stopped her immediately. So Albus told her something important. He told her not to listen to a single thing the townsfolk will say. She also asked why. Albus explained that their goal is to finish this journey as fast as possible, so he told her the one thing that's going to slow them down, it's the meaningless requests from the townspeople, or the so-called side quests. He pointed out a man whose face is clearly showing that he's in desperate need of help, trying to get the attention of adventurers like them. Turns out that guy's request was just to resolve a lover's quarrel, and the lady from earlier was just looking for a lost cat. Albus has already decided completely in his heart, there's nothing wrong with ignoring all those useless requests so they can go faster. Fiona understands him clearly. He told her to just focus on defeating the Demon King right now. Fiona admits that he's right about it. Albus now heads to the weapon shop and advised Fiona not to trouble herself with too much work. Suddenly, there were 2 people talking about the route to the west that got attacked by bandits again, and they think that soon this town might get attacked too. Then a boy suddenly called Fiona. He asked her if she's an adventurer. Fiona thinks she really needs to get away from here. The boy told her that the bandits killed his dad. Now she felt bad for what happened to the boy's father. The pendant that his dad gave him was also stolen by those bandits. So now he begs Fiona to take it back for him. Fiona had no choice but to say yes to the kid. Suddenly, Albus finally came back in an instant and asked her what she's doing. Albus stared at the kid got scared and ran. Albus asked her if she found something. Fiona heard about a group of bandits nearby, but Albus already knew about them. But he told Fiona they're not going to involve themselves with it. That got Fiona confused, so she asked Albus if that's really alright. Even though it's true that the Demon King is their highest priority, she thinks it's not alright to ignore the problems of other people. So Albus told her that even though he's the hero, he can't babysit every single one of them, that's just impossible. The following day they went to the feudal lord's manor. The feudal lord told them that he had already heard of his arrival. Then he asked Albus if he's really going to take down the gang of goblins for them. Surprisingly, Albus said yes. Fiona got confused, so she asked him about what he told her yesterday. He told her to just relax because this is part of his plan to save time. He explained that this lord is actually the one who manages the checkpoint ahead, so if they can get a pass permit from him, the road they'll take will save them a lot of time. But then he told her they shouldn't get involved. The Lord asked them when they will start the attack. Albus answered that it's about to be finished already by now. The feudal lord and Fiona were shocked about what he said. Turns out, Albus had already sent a group of mercenaries to attack those bandits. They were led by a guy who has an eye patch. After finishing the request Albus made, they immediately went to him to take the promised payment. The people saw the legendary mercenary group's banner, they're called the Wolf Claws, and Albus was glad they had finished it so quickly. He was outsourcing mercenaries so they could save some time, and it's the only way for the quest to be completed quickly. Truly, the great hero is a genius. Fiona asked since when did he contact them. Albus told her that he had already contacted them beforehand. Their leader asked him if he's the client who requested their service. Albus smiled at him and called him captain. The captain asked how he got the method on how to contact them, because they're an honorable and proud mercenary group and only those whom they truly trust know the method of contact. Albus answered and said a certain person had told him a long time ago that in case he found himself in trouble, he gave Albus his contact so they could help him. In his previous loop, Magnus became friends with these guys and he wonders if this will work in his next loop. Their captain promised that he will honor his words with Albus, but of course he didn't tell him that they were close in his previous life. He just said that the guy told him to remember the bond of their companion and also, they are the greatest mercenary group in the world. Albus claimed that's what the guy told him. The captain is still curious about what he said, but he can't deny the truth about Albus' words. Then the captain said as long as they pay him the set amount, they will have no problems. Then he walked away. Then he suddenly gave something to Albus that came from the request detail. Fiona noticed what it was. Albus then called her and told her to give it back. It was a pendant. Turns out it was the lost pendant of the young boy's father. Albus was glad that the mercenaries had found that pendant. Fiona asked why bother looking for that pendant. Albus then told her that in the previous loop, he was very close with that group of mercenaries. They had helped him out greatly back then too. It was then that he realized that memories really should be treasured forever. Fiona went to the boy and gave the pendant back to him. The boy was so happy about it. Fiona thinks that Albus is quite a weird one, because in reality, he just couldn't ignore other people who need help too. Well, that's what she thought. Later, while they were preparing to leave, Albus told her to hurry up because they still need to up their pace, but Fiona noticed something. She asked why their luggage looked too small. Since they have a lot of money, she thought they'd have tons of supplies. Albus told her that they don't have any more gold now. Turns out, he used it all on those mercenaries, and now they're back to being broke again. Suddenly, the young boy they'd helped came. He brought a lot of supplies and told them to take anything that they need for free. They were surprised by the young boy's kindness. Albus just smiled at Fiona. He explained that the kid's family was a successful merchant, so he had to receive a favor from him. Fiona got angry because he was just thinking of himself after all. In the hometown of Albus, the vast field of wheat glows like gold in the afternoon. Both children and adults helped to carry the harvest together, with fulfilling labor, glistening sweat, and blind smiles. In that moment, he thought to himself that he wanted to protect this scenery as long as he lives. The day he was chosen to be a hero, all the devoted priests gathered, and Albus was thankful to all of them from the bottom of his heart. Simply, he was extremely proud that he was able to protect that scenery and also to protect this wonderful world. So he swears by the heavens that for the sake of world peace, he will defeat the demon lord. The priests applauded him, and even though he's just a young man, they're deeply moved by his extreme commitment to protect humanity. So in return, the Church of St. Carlos gave him their full-fledged support. Albus thanked them for it. But this was his plan all along. He had heard that in this church lies a fountain of holy water, so he asked them if he could take some of it. Normally, the fountain is sealed off, but they gave Albus an exemption this time. The priests gave him special permission to take some of it. Fiona was glad about it. Well, Albus immediately ran together with the people he paid to get as much holy water as he could get. He told them to fill them all up. The priest didn't think he would get this much, but it can't be helped since the hero needs it. So after they had all filled those jars and barrels with holy water, Fiona admitted that she didn't think she'd see so much of St. Carlos' legendary holy water. Albus said these are effective for repelling monsters. With these, most monsters shouldn't attack them anymore, and being able to skip fights will save them plenty of time. But Fiona said getting to this point was also such a pain, because they had to cloak themselves with the fur of a grizzly bear and almost walked into dangerous monster territory. So Fiona started to sprinkle it on the horse. Albus told her that if she does it like that, the water's effects won't last long. So he showed the right method and made something like an automatic sprinkler system, which surprised Fiona in a bad way. Albus called it the holy water barrel sprinkler system that he had invented. First step was to pour holy water into small barrels, number 2 is create some holes, but Fiona thinks he'll definitely be punished for using holy water in this way, though she admits that it's quite impressive too. In any case, Fiona was quite moved that Albus always had a noble heart even when he was still a child. But he suddenly told her that it was all just a lie. Fiona didn't expect that from him though, but Albus was glad that he was pretty convincing and a tearjerker too, which got Fiona disappointed. So she asked him what's his real reason to be motivated to keep going this far. Albus looked at her. He then explained that at first, he was just doing it on a whim, which Fiona thinks is too shallow for a reason. When that strange old guy said he was the hero, what he thought immediately was that everyone's going to spoil him, so Fiona has confirmed he's just like anybody else, having worldly desires at their peak. Albus also believed that defeating the demon lord was pretty easy to do, and that he'd manage to do it somehow when that day would come. Fiona thinks that it's scary how ignorant and childish Albus is. Now she's getting all worried. She set out on this journey because she admired the hero, and she's bummed to know that the real hero is a coward, selfish, uncaring of others, and he never thinks about anything. Now she has regrets about coming along with him. Albus then admitted that that way of thinking is why he had failed several times. Then he said that right now, he's feeling a lot of regrets. Fiona was surprised about what he said. So she asked if there's still anything he's hiding. Albus got silent for some reason. Then she asked him what's the real reason why he's continuing to repeat the loop. Suddenly, some arrows were fired at them. Albus immediately knew that they're being attacked by a goblin horde, and now they're surrounded, which he thinks is an annoying pattern. These guys have some level of intelligence, they didn't approach them because of the holy water, that's why they can still attack them by shooting arrows. Fiona suggests that they should hurry and get away, but Albus said they can't do that. Turns out, a huge troll was already ahead of them waiting. He knew that these guys would sometimes work together. The troll has the muscles and the goblins have the brains. They both fill in what the other is missing. Fiona told him this is not the time for a casual analysis. At this rate, the holy water will run out and she can't handle this many monsters at once. Albus also said that the sun will set soon. Fiona said the sun has nothing to do with their situation. Albus said spending the least amount of energy for difficult situations like this is ideal. A horde of this size would have a leader somewhere, and they have to take that one down so the rest will follow. But there really are too many of them right now, he has no idea where they might be hiding. Fiona starts to panic. Suddenly, they notice something unusual happening around them. It's like a surge of gravity came and in an instant, the leader of the goblins got taken down by an arrow right in the head. Well, it was Albus all along that took down the leader, telling Fiona that was all a lie. Turns out, he had already memorized the goblins' attack formation and these guys only have a single pattern. All that remains now is the huge troll. The troll screamed and charged at them. Fiona got scared, but Albus grabbed one of the holy water barrels. He threw it at the troll's head. Turns out, the holy water can also inflict damage on monsters, and now the troll is screaming because its eyes got burned by it. Then Albus immediately jumped toward its head, then he delivered a devastating kick using a hidden weapon in his shoe. He was able to cut its face. Fiona then told him that the other goblins are running, which triggered some of his memories. In his previous loop, they also faced these goblins and the troll, and he told all of them to retreat. He told them to hurry and find the leader this time, but it was too late for him to save Fiona and the others. It was one of the regrets he had in the previous loop, that's why he promised himself to speedrun things if he can. And so, he decided to tell Fiona the real reason, it's just that there's someone he wants to save. Fiona was shocked, but then he told her again that it's also a lie. A year has passed since their departure. They've been steadily making their way north across the Enros continent, and their goal is the magic continent of Galmet, where the Demon King's castle is located. Fiona asked why they're going on a different path, so Albus told her that they're not taking a ship this time because they will use a warp gate, which got Fiona confused. She asked if that's a relic of an old civilization because there's something like that nearby. Albus said that it will let them jump straight to central Galmet, which will save them a lot of time. But it also comes with risks. He then told Fiona that great hardships are waiting for her ahead, and he could only hope that she'll still come with him. After she heard that, she already knew something bad was going to happen, especially for those who have come to understand Albus. They finally arrived at an old relic. Albus told her that what lies ahead is a warp gate. That thing, placed by the ancient wizards, is said to have been running for over 1,000 years, powered by limitless energy. Fiona thinks that's really amazing. Suddenly, an old man appeared behind them, which startled Fiona. The old man asked if he's Albus the hero because he's already expecting him to show up one day. The old man said he's the guardian of this shrine, and he has been protecting this place for 40 years now. Then he told Albus that he can use the gate however he wishes. But there's a catch, he would like Albus to kindly grant the old man's dying wish. But Albus didn't bother and immediately grabbed Fiona as they went to the warp gate instantly. The old man got pissed because Albus was being rude to him, so he closed the gate. He said that sometimes this tactic works, but Fiona suggested they should just hear him out because she also felt bad for him. Albus looked at her and explained everything that's going to happen next. The old man said that there exists a rare gem called the Rainbow Gem. He has been searching for it for many years, and he finally found it. And to obtain it, he needs their help. The old man asked if they'd be willing to help him. The Rainbow Gem is said to be hidden in a dungeon to the west, but Albus suggested he should also come with them. A monk told them that to proceed further, they're gonna need a magic key. A witch told them that if they want a magic key, they'll need to get the flame staff from a merchant to the south first. Then the merchant told them that a monster actually stole it, and now it's in a fortress to the east. So they went to that monster and fought it, but it got away. And through this entire sequence of events, Albus ended up wasting a whole year. But the old man kept on saying that he just wants to catch a glimpse of that jewel. Albus called him the hermit Marius, who's also known as the wise wizard. The old man asked if he had already introduced himself. Suddenly, Albus asked him if the gem he's searching for is really what he's after. Marius was surprised when he asked that question. Albus then told him that sometimes, the things that matter are surprisingly close to us, like this flower. Fiona thinks he's trying to talk his way out of this so they can get through the warp gate. Then Marius, the old man, asked him if he's willing to listen to his story. Albus told him to make it short. When Marius was still young, he fell in love with a woman and her name was Cecile. She was a tavern owner's only daughter. Albus then called Fiona. They talked about something behind the old man while the old man kept on telling his story. He decided to leave the woman that he loved behind for his pursuit of magic. And as he was leaving, he made her a promise. He told the woman that he would come back someday and bring her the rainbow gem she always wanted to see. Fiona asked Albus if he's sure about the thing they're about to do, and he told her she's gonna be fine and just do it so they can proceed. The old man Marius said that in the end, decades have passed since then, but if possible, he wants to meet her one more time. Then suddenly, Fiona was dressed differently while Albus just stood there on the side. The old man looked at her. Then Fiona greeted him that they had met again. Albus' idea was for Fiona to disguise herself as Cecile, the woman Marius loved. Surprisingly, it worked and Marius believed her. He told her that he's sorry that he couldn't keep his promise to her. She told him it's fine and he doesn't need to search for the rainbow gem anymore. Then she told him to forget about it. But then, Marius suddenly asked if it was Cecile to whom he made that promise. Marius suddenly turned away and explained that the woman's name was Emeralda. She was an exotic and enchanting dancer. Fiona thought that she needs to do something before he finds out. Eventually, Albus then gave Fiona the clothes to change into Emeralda. Marius believed her again. Then Marius told her that he promised to show her the gem. Fiona was curious why Albus was so well prepared for this. Then again, Marius said that maybe it was Mary, the bunny girl from the gambling parlor. Fiona can't believe how much of a player this old man is. And so, Albus gave her another set of clothes so she could turn into Mary the bunny girl. Marius was about to hug her, but she stopped the old man. Albus asked if he's now satisfied after seeing all the girls that he used to love. Marius thanked him because it felt like he was reliving an old dream, although he doesn't know where he dug up all this information about him. Fiona then told him that he had lived quite a fulfilling life. Marius admitted that it was truly enjoyable, but he also admitted that if only he had stayed with one person, maybe he could have had a different life too, because there are some things he regretted, but they are also an important part of his life. He asked Albus what he thinks about it. He then said that he doesn't want to have any regrets because what he's aiming for is the perfect future. But still, Albus treasured all the memories he had. Turns out, in his previous loop, Marius also joined his party with Fiona, and he had learned a lot in life because of that experience. What he liked the most were the old man's crazy stories about the past. And he hopes that he can hear them again someday. After Marius heard what he said, he asked Albus if they have met before. Eventually, he let Albus and Fiona use the warp gate. He asked if they're ready, and Albus said yes. They couldn't bring the horse with them, so they entrusted it to Marius and told him to take care of it. Turns out, Marius also knew about the loop that Albus had gone through, and he's impressed by how strong he is, but he just wonders how many loops he has gone through with that body. He also noticed something about Fiona, so he asked her if something bad happened to her, because he can see deep and profound sadness in her eyes. Fiona just smiled at him, but it's time for them to leave now. Marius just hopes that beyond that sadness, may there be light too. In an instant, they have finally reached the Demon King's castle. Albus called Fiona. When she looked at him, something happened to Albus. He said that it seems like there was some kind of mistake that took place, and now he's asking Fiona to help him. Fiona smiled and told him this must be karma for treating people like tools. Then she told him that she's just going to leave him like that for 10 hours, which terrified Albus. He had no choice but to talk her out of it. He told her that she looked so great in those outfits and she was pretty and lovely and so cute too. Fiona decided to just make it 5 hours. In one of his previous loops, someone asked him why his sword had a chip in it. Albus answered that he had had it this entire time, and it's like a partner to him so he can't just change it now. But then Albus told him that his helmet was looking worse for wear as well too. The guy told him that this here's a legendary helmet once used by the hero Darren, and even if it looks a bit rugged, it still has the spirit of a hero. Another girl, who is their mage, said that she spent a lot of their money on equipment, so the more expensive it is, the higher the quality of the item is. But Albus was just glad that they had made it this far though. And now it's time for them to go inside the Demon King's castle. Back to the present day, Fiona told him that something appeared and he asked her to show it to him. They were using a tool called the Elvish Magnifying Glass, a magical item that shows the abilities of the target in view. Fiona learned that she's already level 21 and Albus is level 36. Albus had already expected that result, since they came here as early as possible. Then he told her to take a closer look. It was about the additional details. Somehow, Fiona panicked after seeing the attack power, magic power, age, height, and weight. Then she told him that it wasn't her fault because the food at the elven village was just too tasty. Albus told her that he didn't say anything about that though. So she looked at the mirror again and saw some kind of monster. Turns out, they were being attacked by a manticore. It screamed at them. It's been 4 months since they arrived here at the magic continent of Galmet. They have passed the elven village, and the Demon King's castle is fast approaching. Turns out, after they arrived at the castle, Albus suggested they're not going to the Demon King's castle yet because at this rate, they'll die as soon as they get there. Because the Demon King is level 150, and that shocked Fiona. She asked if they can really win against something like that. Confidently, Albus told her that they can, but they have to level up themselves first. And at the same time, they'll improve their equipment because they need to collect the very best in weapons and armor from all over the continent. He asked Fiona if she's still using her beginner staff because there's a nearby cave with a staff that amplifies magic power. Fiona suddenly looked gloomy, then she called Albus. She told him that she would like to keep this staff. It's the staff that was given to her by her teacher, a gift for completing her training. So she believes that their thoughts for her are the ones that are giving her the strength to continue. But Albus told her that the staff is just level 15 which is completely trash, but she can appraise the item. Fiona told him that's kind of cruel, but Albus said numbers can be harsh sometimes. But this is the hard fact, they will not defeat the Demon King if they're not using suitable gear. All those wishes, expectations, and feelings, all of it means nothing in the face of overwhelming power. Because Albus wants to win this time, but he apologized to her too. Fiona then realized that she has to work hard to level up. And even if it's not through this staff, she'll just have to turn her teacher's thoughts and feelings into numbers instead. Albus was kind of surprised when she said that, then he smiled. Fiona also thought that she's doing this not just for her teacher, but also for a certain guy as well. And so, their mission to level up started as they entered the cave. They fought a lot of monsters along their way, it didn't matter if it was in the sea or on land. Then 2 years passed. They went back to the Demon King's castle to face that manticore. The manticore saw Fiona and it immediately prepared to attack her. It charged Fiona, but it was their strategy all along to lure it and Fiona used her spell. She's now level 52, then she called Albus to do his thing. Albus is now using a different weapon and he used a skill called Millennium Curse Strike. In an instant, the manticore's flesh was vaporized until only its skeleton remained. Albus thinks this is the most powerful weapon ever created. It's called the Morning Star of Ever-Growing Resentment, and it also has a lot of effects. This weapon is the fusion of cursed weapons and armor, resulting in a mace that's able to gather all the curses into a single point to strike at an enemy. It is the combination of a blood-stained axe, sorcerer's dagger, sword of the Mad King, lance of the dead, short sword of insanity, and a lot more. When she saw that 90% of the equipment they had collected was cursed, Fiona really had doubts about it, but this has the highest possible attack and she still thinks it's a bit insane. Anyway, Albus is now level 86. The dwarf who made this kept crying and laughing. Albus said the dwarf really wanted to do it so he let him do it. Now it's time for them to face the Demon King. Albus raised his weapon and said he will defeat him using also the power of darkness. Fiona thinks that maybe Albus is the Demon King because of the weapon he's wielding. They went inside the Demon King's castle. One of the guards had already reported to a Demon King's army general that a hero had come into their castle. But he thinks that a mere insect cannot threaten him. And they cannot allow insects to disturb the Demon King, so he'll personally take care of them. He's now choosing between crushing them or setting them ablaze, but the general thought of tearing them limb from limb and displaying them for all to see. So he prepares that the moment they step into this room will be their final moment. Then suddenly, Albus and Fiona appeared behind him using what seemed to be a secret passage. The general casually turned his back to check what the noise was he heard. Albus greeted him and, in an instant, attacked the general in the face without any warning. The other soldiers immediately went to check what the noise was about. Albus saw more henchmen running towards them. The general got pissed that these insects dared to do that to him. He attacked them from behind, but Fiona easily repelled it using her ethereal barrier shield. Looks like Fiona's gotten stronger than ever as she completely defeats the general. The other soldiers couldn't believe that their master Valgo had been defeated, and now they're worried about the horrific weapon that Albus is wielding. Their speedrun journey continues as they dodge all the traps. The henchmen were wondering how they knew about all the secret passageways inside the castle. Even Fiona got confused about how smoothly they were going. Albus told her that she has no idea how many times he had been here, and it's basically his house at this point. Albus decided to take a little break because they're going to be in the throne room next. Fiona was surprised about what he said, then she told Albus she would like to ask him about something. Albus then asked if she's going to ask about party members. Fiona said yes, she knows it's a bit late for this question, but she's just wondering why it's only the two of them, because she always thought there's meant to be safety in numbers. Albus explained that he had traveled with all different types of people, but when the goal is to do this as fast as possible, problems can arise. He judged that this time, 2 people would be enough. His first party was made up of 2 veterans, Loro, an elite warrior of the Southern Guards, and Gina, prodigy of the Royal Magic Academy. Both of them were skilled in combat, they had skills polished from years of discipline and experience, and he knows for a fact they could watch his back. But Loro was the kind of guy who only ever moved at his own pace, and Gina was very worldly and often complained that she was not being paid enough. They weren't ideal for a journey where speed and cost performance would be important. Mercenary Commander Wirral was a steadfast companion, but it takes a lot to convince him to tag along. Toko the bandit was sharp-witted but prone to emotional outbursts and would sometimes instigate fights. The Stargazer Aval, with his wealth of knowledge, came from a special bloodline with their own pressing familial matters. There's also the hermit Marius whom they met before, Muriel the elf, Roland the bard, Kashira, envoy of the east, and the half-beast Nadia. Then Fiona asked him that from all these people, why did he choose her? Albus said that she's neither good nor bad, but she has low self-esteem, that's why she's easy to convince and she listens to him. Fiona thanked him, but she was actually kidding. But then she told Albus that she's just a nobody, just an ordinary adventurer from a small village. Albus suddenly stared at her and asked if she hasn't noticed. He told her that she has become an adventurer capable of watching his back. Fiona remembered all the things that they had been through when they were still on a journey to level themselves up. He added that she's now able to heal severe wounds with her priestly skills, with her good judgment, she's now able to support Albus with magic. And most of all, she's able to follow along without losing hope. Then he reminded her about the thing that he told her when they first met, that she's the best possible choice he could ever have. Because she won't give up. Albus believed that she'll move forward and she'll grow. So he can rest assured that his companion is also another fool who won't give up on this impossible mission. Fiona was kind of offended about what he said, so she asked Albus if he thinks she's that gullible. Albus answered that it's the truth, and he's not lying at all. Fiona smiled and said okay, but Albus' expression suddenly changed. He got so sad for some reason. Then he told Fiona it's time for them to go now. They have finally reached the throne room of the Demon King. In his previous loop, Aval, one of Albus' party members, said something about a vessel. He thinks that the Demon King is a unique entity among demons, and it is said that through a human vessel, the wicked soul of the Demon King is reborn by possessing them. Thus, it has been resurrected countless times now. Loro also asked if the current Demon King was originally a human. Aval answered yes, but Fiona couldn't believe it, while Albus was just there silently listening to them talking. Back to the present, without any signal, the battle had finally begun. It's finally time for them to face the Demon King. Albus prepared himself while the Demon King looked like he was kinda bored, like he was somewhat taunting Albus. Finally, their battle started and they charged at each other. It was an intense battle. Albus was also getting really serious about their fight, and so was the Demon King. Fiona, however, stayed back because that's what Albus told her, but she couldn't even step into a battle like that. The Demon King asked her why it's only just the two of them, then he told Albus that he's really an arrogant hero. But Albus also told him that's exactly his intent. He also said that this is his conclusion after evaluating his power. Then he asked the Demon King why he can't even assess his own self as he made a disappointed facial expression mocking the Demon King. The Demon King got angry about what he said. Their fight continued as Albus proceeded to attack intensely. He knew that if he created distance, the Demon King would unleash an overpowered instant death spell, so close-range combat was his only way to fight him. The Demon King suddenly asked him if this was their first meeting. Albus answered that this was already the 20th time, and he was able to inflict damage on the Demon King's face and body. He followed it with precise attacks from different directions. It was like he was giving him a combo of attacks. Then he used an attack that he called Cursed Club Barrage. The Demon King's helmet suddenly cracked and Fiona couldn't believe Albus was actually dominating the fight. He was completely reading the Demon King's movements, and he was even using the room better than his opponent. Until now, she was only half convinced that Albus had the capability to defeat the Demon King, but she could actually believe it now. She thought that Albus wasn't lying when he said he had fought this battle 10 times, or maybe 20 times already. The Demon King suddenly said that this was becoming troublesome, which Albus noticed. The Demon King realized that he needed to use magic to fight Albus, even if he knew that at this close range it would bounce back and damage his armor. Albus was also surprised about it. The Demon King fired a magic attack at Albus. Meanwhile, in the Demon King's castle hallway, the General Valgo, whom Magnus defeated earlier, was still alive and was now crawling towards the Demon King's throne room. He swore that he'd be right there to ensure that these insects were buried. Then suddenly he noticed a beam of light coming towards him. Turns out, it was the Demon King's attack and he was incinerated by it. It was such a destructive attack that it went through the castle's thick walls and foundation. It resulted in a huge hole. Even the Demon King himself was having regrets about that attack because he didn't intend to make such a big hole in his castle. He said that the hero Albus really managed to get on his nerves. It looked like Albus was defeated by the Demon King. His weapon was also destroyed by that massive attack. Suddenly, Fiona appeared behind the Demon King's back. He couldn't believe that she managed to create a barrier in that instant. He complimented Fiona for being such a capable ally. But then he told her that he could actually crush her without a hitch. Fiona just kept her composure. The Demon King approached her, and as he was about to lay his hands on her, Fiona just closed her eyes. Suddenly, the Demon King noticed something. It seemed like he knew who Fiona was. The two just stayed like that for a moment, while Albus was still lying on the ground, but it looked like he was awake now. He already expected that the Demon King would still be chaotic as ever, but he had never unleashed a blow like that before. No matter how many times he tried, the Demon King always did the unexpected. But really, he had fought this battle over and over, again and again, countless times. Albus stood up and saw that his weapon was already broken, and his hands were also severely damaged. Then suddenly, he just casually called the Demon King. When the Demon King looked at Albus, he then immediately punched him in the face. He used what remained of his previous weapon, tied it to his hand, and used it as a brass knuckle to punch the Demon King, and he was able to crack open his mask. Fiona saw how severely wounded his arm was. She couldn't believe that he really wrapped shards of the cursed weapon around his fist. Then he quietly took a hidden knife. He had already decided that if the Demon King's body was human, he wasn't aiming for a clean victory here. And so, he proceeded to finish him and immediately did what he had to do. He aimed where the vital points are the same as a human's, which is the neck. Finally, the Demon King was defeated. Albus then called Fiona. He said that there's something that he needs to say to her. Fiona was still in disbelief about what they had accomplished. She couldn't believe that they had defeated the Demon King. She told Albus that his arm was all mangled from the curse, so she'd better heal it right away. Albus then looked at her and explained that the objective of this journey was to narrow down their companions and eliminate any wasted time. The record this time is 3 years and 6 months. It's the shortest so far, but it seems difficult to cut it down to under 3 years too. It took time to acquire the weapons and abilities, and most especially to defeat the Demon King. Fiona was a little surprised that he was already reflecting right now. Then he asked Fiona if they really made it in time. Fiona got confused about it. She couldn't understand what he meant by made it in time. Suddenly, the Demon King, whom Albus thought was already dead, coughed. He called Albus in a weak voice. Fiona also couldn't believe that he was still alive. Then she remembered something earlier, when Albus was still unconscious and the Demon King approached her. Fiona asked Albus what it was that he wanted to tell her, because now she kind of felt strange about the situation. She felt like she knew who this person was. Then a dark, smoky figure came out from the Demon King's body. It went up into the air, which got them totally confused about what was happening. Albus then remembered in the previous loop when Gina asked if she saw something black leave just now. Loro also said who cares about that, as long as they had finally defeated the Demon King. Albus also agreed with what he said. Then suddenly, the Demon King called Albus in a weak voice. Laurel was surprised that he was still alive. Albus got close to him and they warned him to stay back, but Albus held his helmet. When he removed it, they saw that he was just also a human like them. And so, they confirmed that the Demon King is an entity that uses a vessel, and this person was the vessel. The guy told them to just finish him already. Gina guessed that maybe his human consciousness came back, and Albus thought there was still a chance to save him. But the guy said he didn't want to be possessed anymore, and he didn't care what would happen to him either. Then he told them to save that kid. Albus was confused about who the kid was that he was referring to. The Demon King's soul wasn't gone yet, it was going to move on to the next vessel, to a vessel that had been chosen along with him. Because they are the children that are affected by the curse. Turns out, the guy that the Demon King possessed was Fiona's big brother. Then Albus saw that the Demon King's soul immediately went straight inside Fiona's body. After that, it was too late for him to react because he was too weak at the moment. Fiona blew up his arm. That was the reason why he kept a knife after he defeated the first vessel, but it looks like he's not going to be able to use it. Albus concluded that he didn't really make it in time. Fiona mentioned his name for the last time, but she was now completely possessed by the Demon King's soul. And he even apologized for missing the chance to finish him off immediately. Even the Demon King was surprised that he'd been looping all this time just to fight him. He told the Demon King not to call him that, but he just continued to mock Albus. He said that he was surprised the vessel he chose as the backup turned out to be so close by. Then he asked Magnus why he bothered bringing Fiona all the way here. Turns out, Albus had already defeated him over and over again, and each time that happened, he always possessed Fiona, no matter where she was in the world. There was a time when he turned the place into a sea of blood when he possessed whoever was actually living in that place. And he couldn't let Fiona do something like that. Albus then charged at him while the Demon King mocked him, telling him to try and stop him here. It was Aval who told him that Fiona would be the vessel of the Demon King. Albus asked if there was a way to stop him, so Aval told him he would look into it. The next day in Aval's library, Aval thought they really needed to make this quick. It was also said that a certain amount of time was required to complete the vessel needed to accept the Demon King. Aval then told him that he should defeat the Demon King before Fiona became a complete vessel. Because if that happened, then maybe they could prevent her from becoming the Demon King. He tried stabbing him, but Albus had already accepted that he failed. The Demon King asked if they were starting over again. He told Albus that it's just a futile struggle, no matter how many times he tried, the result would always be the same. But Albus had already decided that he would save Fiona no matter what. Then he used an ultimate dimensional magic spell that he called Change the World. Even the Demon King was impressed that he had this kind of power, to rewind the entire world. Albus just looked up to the sky as he waited to get resurrected back in time. But this time, he vowed to defeat the Demon King before Fiona became the Demon King's vessel. They went back to the time when Fiona went to the royal capital to join the Demon King's subjugation party, which she thought would just embarrass herself, a country bumpkin like her. But then again, Albus grabbed her hoodie and put her on the wagon. The soldiers acted immediately, as usual, then he casually showed them the hero's insignia. They were shocked to learn that it was actually Albus Stride, the chosen hero. He then looked at Fiona and asked her if she wanted to join his party. When Albus was still 7 years old, he read a lot of books in the orphanage. Merida, who was the woman that took care of them, was amazed at the number of books he was reading. Albus told her they were all sent by magic teachers from the royal capital, and they told him to study this, study that. He told her that he had already read most of them. Merida said that being the chosen hero must be really tough, because everyone must have high hopes for him. Albus told her that he already knew about that. But there were also people who talked about him behind his back, saying things like he's just an orphan boy, or he's probably just a fraud. Albus said that they didn't realize those very voices were giving him strength. He swore to Merida that he was gonna defeat the Demon King for sure, but Merida thought he'd gotten twisted now. She suddenly hugged him and told him that she was looking forward to that day. Back in the present, that was his memory from a long time ago, and it also feels like it happened a long time ago already. Looks like he didn't make it in time again. The Demon King returned to life by possessing Fiona's body, so he rewound the world using the spell Change the World. And the world always starts again from the day of departure, it's something he can't change. Again, his journey with Fiona begins anew for the 37th loop. Nighttime came and Albus and Fiona rested in the forest. While he was just sitting and contemplating everything, Fiona called him. A slime monster appeared, he told Fiona to deal with it however she wanted. But Fiona said she couldn't deal with slimy creatures, so Albus did what he had to do. He immediately slashed its core to defeat it. He's starting from scratch again. He told Fiona that slimes have a core, so she should aim for that, and that she can defeat them in one hit. He had had this same conversation countless times in all these loops. They had just fought the Grimwing a little while ago too. He asked her how this even compared to that, and said there's nothing to be afraid of because he knew she'd be fine. Fiona didn't understand what he said, so she just apologized. He realized that raising people is really difficult. It's still early in the journey, so he supposed this is just normal. He knew that Fiona would grow, though he really didn't want it to end like it did last time. As he was sitting again, contemplating things, Fiona called him again. He thought that it was really a bit annoying, but it would be nice if Laura were around in times like this, so he asked Fiona what it was this time. Fiona pointed at a cute monster. Albus already knew that this one was bad news. This monster was called Hipstars, also known as phantom rats. These guys specialized in illusion magic, which was really dangerous. Well, Fiona got hypnotized by it, and now she was running around telling Albus that she saw a beautiful flower field over there, so she was going to check it out. Albus immediately ran to stop her. Truly, raising people is very difficult. Back when he was still in the orphanage with Merida, he approached her and said that this orphanage had 6 kids and a dog, and she really took good care of all of them by herself. He asked her if she didn't think it was kind of a hassle for her, which surprised Merida, because they weren't even related to her, they were practically strangers to one another. He also asked if dealing with people was troublesome. Then she told Albus that from a 7-year-old kid like him, he pretty much had a dark outlook on life. Albus said that his parents abandoned him, so he was basically just an unwanted kid. Merida got mad after he said those words, then she pressed his face and told him to stop making such a sad face. She decided to tell him why she stayed with everyone. It was because being surrounded by smiles is the key to enjoying life. In that moment, Albus remembered all the happy memories he had in the orphanage, like eating together and playing with the other kids. It's the kind of place that Merida wanted to create, at least in this lifetime. Then she asked him, what kind of world would Albus the hero create? Back to the present, while they were still resting for the night in the forest, Albus asked Fiona where she was from. She told him that she was from a town called Tome, up in the north. Then he asked what her favorite food was, and Fiona answered it was the local nut pies. He asked if she liked animals and Fiona said yes. He thought that building trust from scratch and communication was really important, but it really wasn't a problem for him. But for starters, he needed to lighten the mood. On the other hand, Fiona was thinking that he was bombarding her with questions like a job interview, and maybe she was being evaluated because she was useless, and now she thought that maybe she was about to be fired. Then Albus asked if she had any siblings. Fiona answered that she had an older brother. Albus already knew that he was the one who was possessed by the Demon King. She also said that when she was 4, her brother disappeared and they thought he was probably attacked by monsters. The Demon King is the king of monsters, and since his revival, monster attacks have become even more frequent. That's why she volunteered to join the hero's party. She wants to make sure fewer people experience the same loss as she did. Of course, Albus had already heard this before, but no matter how many times he heard it, he still needed to do this to build trust because communication was really that important. Then Fiona asked about his family too. He told her that he had been at the orphanage for as long as he could remember, and there was someone who was like a mother to him. But that person had already passed away. When he was 10, Merida passed away from an illness. He really thinks that people die so easily. Even with his spell Change the World, he couldn't turn back time far enough to save Merida, and even if he could, what could he do? But Albus had already decided that what he should be doing is to aim for a perfect future, to create a world like the one Merida created for them. Albus smiled, but he noticed something about Fiona. He asked her what was the meaning of her facial expression. Fiona said that when he feels sad, she wonders why he always puts on a smile. And she thought that maybe that is his own key to moving forward. He was surprised when Fiona said that, but he smiled eventually. He told Merida that he had someone he wanted to save. In the northern continent town of Tome, some people were drinking inside a bar and a guy told Byron he had had too much to drink. Another guy asked what kind of cleric he was. A guy with a scar on his face and smoking a pipe told them to shut it and stop bossing him around. The lady who serves at the bar told them to just let him drink for now because his beloved pupil is gone on a journey. But she wondered if she made it to the hero's party. The girl was talking about Fiona. Albus and Fiona's journey to defeat the Demon King continues. They quelled a bandit uprising in the merchant city of Sepida, then they headed to the dungeon, Orbel's underground tomb, where the boss monster, Castor the Wraith, lies in wait. Albus told Fiona to do her best because he believes that she can do it. Then Fiona realized why is she already in here. Albus told her that this time, they're focusing on boss fights. Fiona got confused, why the boss fights already? So Albus told her that last time, they achieved their fastest time ever. And by avoiding battles and taking the shortest route, their path was perfect. But leveling up and gathering equipment in the latter half became a hassle for them. So maybe it was too unconventional. Fiona asked what's unconventional. Albus wants that this time, they will focus more on efficient leveling. The experience points gained from the boss fights are really huge, and the key will be how quickly they can defeat them. And the boss of this dungeon is perfect for her. Fiona now faced the boss of the dungeon, but she was too scared. Albus thinks this isn't looking good. So he immediately saved her and told her not to just stand there. He already told her that Castor is just an undead monster, and undead monsters are weak to healing magic. So she can basically deal massive damage in one hit if she'll just use her spell. He told her that this is just an easy boss for her, so she should hurry up and cast the spell. But Fiona was too scared to even move. As she was staring at the look on Albus' face, she remembered someone telling her that he knows she can do it though, so she should at least try a little bit harder. It's the kind of look that she had seen before. It was the guy from earlier at the bar asking Fiona why couldn't she cast healing magic, and that she should try a little bit harder because he believed she could do this. He told her that she should be able to handle low-level spirits like these on her own. The guy was actually Fiona's teacher who trained her when she was still little. He told her that she came to him saying she wanted to train so she could join the hero's party, with all these lofty dreams in her head. He warned Fiona not to underestimate the world too much because it's always people like her who will end up dying first. Fiona's teacher Byron told them that the child who was left at their monastery when she turned 5, a scaredy cat with poor memory and a hopeless student, honestly, he didn't think she was suited for adventuring, but he still trained her and sent her off. Byron told them that Fiona's persistence was remarkable. When he asked her why she worked so hard, she told him that it was probably because of her, and that got Byron surprised. Fiona told Byron about the day that her brother disappeared. When she suddenly heard a voice telling her to come. She heard a voice from somewhere calling her name and it looked like it came from outside, so she headed there. Then suddenly, her brother stopped her, telling her not to go. Her brother smiled and told her it's okay, then he opened the door. Then she saw her brother smiling at her while it was snowing, then in a blink of an eye, he disappeared. Fiona believed that her brother died for her sake. That's why she thought she had to live for someone else's sake. Meanwhile, Albus is still running away from the Wraith while carrying Fiona. She told him to put her down if he thinks she's heavy. Byron also thinks that way of living is probably why she admires the hero, maybe that's the most probable reason. Unfortunately, Albus was at his limit and suddenly tripped himself. They crashed really hard to the ground. But they recovered. Byron knows that Fiona is a kind girl. But the Wraith was already preparing for a massive attack behind Albus. Byron then said that once she resolves herself, she is really strong, no doubt about it. Seeing Albus in a dangerous situation, Fiona was able to cast her healing spell and defeated the Wraith in an instant. Byron said that as long as she is doing it for someone else's sake, Fiona can become the strongest cleric. The only thing she lacks is confidence, and he hopes that the person who will give her the confidence she needs will show up, someone who will tell her that she'll be fine. Albus told her that was some good healing magic she did right there. He told Fiona that he always knew she would be fine. Fiona was flattered upon hearing the compliment Albus gave her, then she remembered her teacher Byron and hopes he's doing well right now, that thanks to him, she's now traveling with the hero. Because he's drunk now, Byron started crying, telling Fiona that she can do it. They told him that if he's feeling lonely, he could just tell them about it, but maybe he just misses his student. Their journey continues and Fiona was surprised to see such large birds marching together. She had never seen those running birds before. Albus told her those are Cabell big birds. They are flightless birds native to the Cabell Plains, known for sprinting across the ground at incredible speeds. And they're not very smart too. When one starts running, the others instinctively follow, and most of them probably have no idea why they're running right now. Fiona thinks they're kind of cute. Albus told her that once they start running, they just keep going without hesitation, and they remind him of a certain someone, a warrior who charges headlong into the enemy lines, no matter the opponent. He's brave and also recklessly bold. Then he told Fiona what his name is. They reached the city of Kabelia. He told Fiona to run some errands for him. He gave her a map so she has the guide for the shortest route. He told her about a few things to watch out for, like in this route from the tool shop to the magic tool shop. It might seem far, but she shouldn't worry. He knows she can easily take a shortcut by cutting through a residential area, but Fiona thinks that's horrible and way too difficult. He also told her about the weapons shop. She's finally there now. An old man welcomed her and asked her what she was looking for. Fiona asked for a silver sword. The man said they have it right here and she can feel free to browse other items at her leisure. But Albus already told her to watch out for the shopkeeper. He warned her not to let his face fool her because he's a shrewd businessman. The shopkeeper grins behind her, thinking that a meek-looking young lady is such an easy target, and he wonders what he should sell to her. When Fiona looked back, he immediately returned to his normal facial expression. But this guy continues to spy on her. Maybe he can sell her a worn-out blunt sword, and he'll throw in a helmet and shield to jack up the price. Fiona already felt uncomfortable and wanted to get out of here now. Suddenly, the bell rang and a guy called the shopkeeper. He told him that the sword he bought yesterday broke. He stared at the shopkeeper angrily. The shopkeeper pretended to act innocent and said he's a customer from yesterday. The shopkeeper thinks he had sold him a blunt sword but he couldn't remember. Then he told the customer that they don't offer refunds here. Strangely, the guy got sad and said he's sorry, and that got Fiona and the shopkeeper confused. Then he said that maybe his swing is just off, or his strikes are just bad. Or maybe he's still inexperienced, that's why the sword got broken. He introduced himself as Laurel Liberio, and he wished to buy another sword from him even though it kind of sounds embarrassing. The shopkeeper smiled, to think he can't even tell the quality of the sword is jackpot already, but Fiona told him to wait a moment. She told Lauro that he's being scammed by this shopkeeper. Lauro said there's no way that could be true because this man's face looks like a saint, and no one with a face like this could be a bad person. So the shopkeeper proceeded to pick another sword for him, and he chose a leftover one. Lauro told him it's not the right sword, he needs the same kind of blunt sword just like yesterday, or otherwise it would be meaningless, he said. The shopkeeper was kind of confused about what he said. Lauro asked if he deliberately sold that blunt sword to him, and maybe his reason is to train him to be able to use any kind of sword and become a warrior who can fight with any weapon. Then Lauro asked if he would purposely sell junk to people, because he still believes that he's not that kind of person. The shopkeeper decided to give him a discount this time. Maybe he got intimidated by Lauro's words. Lauro and Fiona got out from the shop and she's wondering why this guy's pretty happy about his dull sword. Lauro, on the other hand, is glad that he can now go back to training. Suddenly, Fiona called him. She asked if he hadn't thought that he has been scammed by that shopkeeper. He just said that it doesn't matter. He smiled and said life rarely goes the way you want it to, and if that's the case, whether something good or bad happens doesn't matter. What's important is how you perceive it and what you do about it. Because for him, everything in this world is a trial to make him the strongest warrior. Then suddenly, he asked Fiona if she knows anything about the hero Albus Stride. He told her that he has been searching for him everywhere to join him in the Demon King's subjugation. He even went to the royal capital too. He thought that he'd wait at the castle for the departure ceremony, but he had a strange feeling all of a sudden. So he waited in the castle town, and then he spotted the hero riding a carriage. He ran out into the street to follow him. He really got desperate just to catch his attention. And finally, Albus noticed him. But he just ran over him. He was sure that Albus sped up when he realized he was after him. Fiona just closed her eyes. Lauro is still looking for Albus. Then suddenly, Albus arrived and asked Lauro why he's here. He immediately kneeled down to him and said he wanted to follow the hero Albus. He also said that he's sure he'll be of use to him in his journey. But Albus told him he doesn't know who he is and he also refused his offer because he'd only slow him down. Lauro smiled and said that this is just another trial for him. Albus and Fiona couldn't believe how stubborn this guy is. In one of his previous loops, Albus and Lauro were already inside the Demon King's castle, and it seemed like they'd already defeated the Demon King. Lauro then asked him if it was finally over. Albus answered yes. But he wasn't just talking about the Demon King, he also asked about Fiona. Albus's facial expression showed how sad he was. Turns out, they had also defeated Fiona too when she got possessed by the Demon King's soul. Lauro stared at Albus and asked if he was going to start over again. He answered yes. Lauro said it'll be fine and he's sure they'll make it in time the next try. Albus then smiled at him and said something to Lauro. He told him that he is fired in his next loop and that got him upset. Back in the present, their paths have once again met. Loro can't believe he would just refuse like that because he has searched for him all this time, and yet he's giving him the cold shoulder. But he just smiled and said that he'll be of use to him once more. He also introduced himself as Loro Liberio, the man who'll someday become the world's strongest warrior. They both stared at him, then Fiona asked if he was the one who was with him in his previous loop. Albus said yes. He's a warrior who used to travel with him, but he wonders why he is here of all places. He's sure this wasn't part of the plan too. Fiona asked if he doesn't want him in the party. To make this the fastest journey possible for Albus, the party needs discipline, especially on how well they can stay coordinated, because it greatly impacts the time it takes. In that sense, this guy was the biggest troublemaker, so he can't have him in his party. He would take every job or request from townspeople he came across, and he'd also drag them into reckless fights, putting the party in danger. And because he is too optimistic, he never looks back, never gives up, and never stops. Some even called him the positive fool, or the positive berserker. Fiona thinks she already sees where he's coming from, then Loro asked them what they were whispering about. Then he told them that he can't stand being rejected without proving himself. So he asked Albus if he can show him first what he can do right here and now. Suddenly, a huge guy instantly carried both Albus and Loro, and an old man said he had found two lively ones. The old man told them they're really full of energy, but fighting in the streets is not allowed here. And if they're itching for a competition, he's got just the thing for them and they have to come with him. He also told Fiona to come too. Turns out, the competition that the old man was talking about was a race where Cabell big birds are used instead of a horse. Well, Albus and Loro just went along with it. The old man said that this is the famous Kabylia City attraction, the big bird race. It's the local pastime around this town, and he's the one who organized it. Riders race on big Cabell birds, obviously. And people either cheer or bet on them for fun. It just so happens that they're short on jockeys today, so he had been scouting for people. He also told Albus and Loro to settle their dispute with this. Loro smiled and told Albus that if he wins, he'll let him join the party, but Albus just stared at him. He then asked Loro if he really wants to join the party that badly, and he answered of course. Then he asked him again why, because his original goal was to grow stronger through the journey. He wasn't fixated on the Demon King's subjugation itself too. Then something popped up in Loro's head when he heard that. When he saw the poster about the heroes party members wanted, he was just really looking for ways to get stronger. But when he saw him in the royal capital, something inside him was stirred. Albus wondered what he meant by stirred. Loro said it was like a fire inside him. He doesn't fully understand it too, but the fire in his heart said to follow this person. And that got Albus perplexed. Finally, the race was about to start. Just one lap around the course will settle who the winner is. Everyone prepares for the countdown, and Fiona just cheered for the both of them. The race has started and Albus is suddenly in the lead. He's really fast this time. Albus suddenly remembered their conversation in the previous loop when he told Loro he's gonna be fired in the next loop. Loro didn't have a problem with it though, and Albus was kind of surprised he was quick to accept it. But then Loro told him he'll just go and find Albus himself. But Albus clarified to him that whenever he uses Change the World, people's memories don't carry over, except for his. Back to the race, looks like Albus is winning this time. Back to their conversation in the previous loop, Loro told him that doesn't really matter. He smiled and told him that right now, his heart is burning fiercely, burning with frustration at how powerless he is. Because he wanted to save Fiona too. Back to the race, it's obvious that Albus is winning this one, but they noticed that Loro suddenly got faster and now is coming from the outside. Even Loro felt this strange feeling inside him. And all of a sudden, he's now ahead of everyone else. He smiled while crying and said to himself that he won't let this flame be extinguished. He really feels that something deep inside him burns fiercely. Albus couldn't help but smile for Loro. He realized that the moment they met, he had already lost. Everyone celebrated his victory. He went straight to Albus and asked if he had earned his approval now. Albus told him to stop calling him hero because it's too creepy. He told Loro to just call him Albus, and he's gonna be counting on him from now on. Loro finally got what he wanted. And they bumped fists. The next day, Fiona thinks Loro might have overslept. Albus got pissed and said that they should just leave him now. Loro thinks that life rarely goes the way you want it to as he remembers his past memories with his parents. He ran and called his mother. Then he told them that he'll become the strongest warrior just like his father, and they smiled seeing how full of energy he was. He really wanted to be the strongest version of himself, especially when that day came. His mother, the one person he wanted to show it to the most, passed away. Too bad he can no longer show it to her. His father called him while he was still grieving. His father told him to become strong no matter what. That was all he remembered. His father wanted him to become strong, stronger than anyone else. It's been 3 days since they left the city of Kabylia, and now they're heading north. Through the old road in Ronda's forest, suddenly, a group of vegetable monsters chased Albus out of nowhere. Loro asked why the heck he was playing around this time. Fiona thinks that it seems like they're in a den of plant monsters, that's why no one uses this old road. But Albus thinks it'll be a major shortcut if they can get through here. Loro asked what he's up to now. Fiona said that's just the way he is, really. Finally, Albus has lured them away and it's now Loro's time to shine. So Loro didn't hesitate and finished off all the monsters using his skill called Landslide. Even Albus was surprised how devastating the attack was. Well, looks like their plan was a success. Loro said that it's been 3 days since he traveled with them and now he finally realized something. Fiona asked if there's something that's bothering him. Loro told her that she's way too scared of fights and that she should be more confident. And about Albus, he told him that he should also fight too. Because he was just giving orders from the carriage or running away like earlier, and so far that's all he has seen him do. Then he said that if he's really the hero, he should show some strength and show them what being strong means. He really gave Albus a mouthful of lectures. Albus just told him that he's here to fight for him so he shouldn't complain, and it's tiring to fight so why would he? He told Albus that he's really starting to get on his nerves now. Suddenly, Albus asked him why being strong is really important to him. He answered that they're aiming to defeat the Demon King, and they can't afford to be weak if the time comes when they're going to face him. Fiona couldn't hold it any longer and she started to cry. She told Loro that he's right, that someone as weak as her shouldn't even be here. Loro got worried and told her that he's not blaming her. They got silent for a moment. Loro was born in the southwestern part of the kingdom of Erdelia. It's near the border with the neighboring country of Zyram. The lord that was tasked with defending this ever-contentious border was Loro's father. One day, his father showed him the Zyram army's fortress. His father told him that with the chaos brought by the Demon King's revival, they're holding a truce for now. But his father was sure that conflicts would surely occur again someday. Loro understood what his father meant. His father was not only a lord but also a formidable warrior. His valor was renowned throughout the kingdom. He was determined to become like him, so for his late mother's sake, he promised to become stronger. Then the time came when he was assigned to the Southern Guard and became the captain. Though the truce continued and the days were peaceful, Loro and his men trained tirelessly day and night. They couldn't keep up with his pace and they were telling him to wait for them, but Loro told them he was going to double the distance now. He really enjoyed growing stronger because he knew that his father would praise him for this. He continued to train with his men. One time in a sparring session, it looked like Loro was just toying with them as he kept on telling them to do it again. He told one of his sparring partners to come at him harder if he wanted to. Suddenly, one of his men called him and said that his father wanted to see him. For some reason, his father told him that no one will follow him as he is right now, so he cannot let him inherit the lordship. Loro was relieved of his duties as captain immediately. He apologized to his father and said he'll become stronger and prove himself, but his father told him that what he needed right now was to learn how to be weak. That's when he realized that truly, life doesn't go the way you want it to. So with nothing to do, he decided to leave home. He was fixed on pursuing strength in his own way, so he wandered around for years. And finally, here he is, riding in the wagon of the chosen hero. Albus then told him to stop spacing out because something big is coming. They're being attacked by a Trent all of a sudden. Fiona got terrified and told Albus to run away, but Loro just smiled and said he'll take it down. Albus suddenly stopped him and told him to listen to what he's about to say. So Loro didn't attack the Trent as they continued to run while it chased them. They suddenly made a huddle, which got Loro confused. Albus told Fiona that she will act as bait to lure it out. Then at the designated spot, he and Loro will set a trap to trip the Trent. And in the path of its fall is the ditch he made earlier when he used landslide on those vegetable monsters. And beyond that is a valley with a flowing stream, and that way, he told Loro that he can go all out in there. Eventually, their plan was well executed given that Albus already knew what was going to happen next. But he was surprised that the fire that possesses Loro can convert his fighting spirit into flames. The last time when he fought the Trent in the middle of the forest, he caused a wildfire and he almost wiped out nearly everything. Clearly, not being able to hold back is his main flaw. Loro delivered a devastating attack to the Trent which he called Nova Fireball. He sure did obliterate the poor monster. Albus then told him that it is true that strength is important, but being able to accept the flaws and weaknesses of others is also important as well. Because after all, there's no such thing as a person without any weakness, everyone has a weakness, even him. He remembered his father that he admired so much, he was the strongest and perfect in every way, but on that day, he saw his father shed tears for the first time. So he decided that after he defeats the Demon King and becomes the strongest warrior, he needs to have a proper heart-to-heart talk with his father. 3 months since the departure day, and 1 week since Loro joined the party, they have arrived at the city of craftsmen, which is the city of Brutus. It is home to the Blacksmiths Guild, Tailors Guild, and the Architects Guild. Various trades have also formed their guilds, and they support one another and thrive together. Every guild here is said to boast renowned artisans too. Albus wanted to enhance his weapon and equip the entire party head to toe. He was looking for a certain blacksmith. The old man welcomed him and told him that he has come to the right place. Loro asked Fiona if he's a dwarf, but Fiona said he's human, but barely, though. The old man told Albus that he's going to introduce him to their guild's finest craftsmen. But Albus told him there's no need for that because he already had someone in mind. The old man was surprised that he had been here before, so Albus pointed out the one he was looking for. It was the blacksmith Toma Bordeaux. The old man said that even though technically he's a member of the Blacksmiths Guild, he's still an apprentice here. And in their guild, only certified masters are allowed to take on jobs. But Albus insisted that it has to be him. Loro told him that dealing with craftsmen can be a pain. Fiona also told him that he has to follow the rules here. But given that he has done this several times, of course he didn't listen to them and he just told them that he just wants the fastest and best craftsman, because he knows he's the one who can deliver. Toma was confused about what he said, then the old man asked what he was talking about. Albus proceeded to the only way this old man can be bargained with. He told the old man that they will have him take the master certification exam right now. And if he becomes a master, there's no issue at all. Everyone got confused about what Albus said, even Toma was confused about it. He asked what's the meaning of this, because there's no way he can become a master, not in 100 years, and he's also just a rookie. But of course Albus didn't buy it. He asked Toma how long he has been with the guild. Toma answered that since he was 7, and now it's been 10 years. Fiona said that's a long time now. But he said that in the end, skill is everything in this world. Loro asked about the exam he mentioned. Toma said it's really simple, you just need to create a masterpiece and impress a group of judges, and you'll be given 3 days to complete it too. Albus showed up wearing something strange and said he's all ears. He told everyone that, believe it or not, he once carried the title of creative director back in the day. But he already knew that Toma was going to be fine. He also told him not to overthink it and just channel all the creativity he has built up over 10 years. Suddenly, Toma took something out of his bag and showed it to Albus. He said that it's the only idea he has right now. The three of them looked at it. 3 days later, and it's now Toma's time for the review. They asked him to show them his masterpiece. He then grabbed something that he had wrapped in white cloth and showed it to the judges. It was a sword with incredible detail. They couldn't help but be amazed by it. They recognized the patterns etched into the blade. They couldn't believe that it's the Dardoch's blade. They were impressed by the detail of it. Achieving this level of artistry is no small feat, and the 3 judges applauded Toma. Fiona and Albus thought that it's all positive feedback so far, but there's more. Toma called Loro to show them the armor he created. As they were looking at the armor, they thought it looked really ordinary. But suddenly, something happened to the armor. It transformed and changed its form, which got the judges jumping in their seats. They asked how he designed the joints to move, and he had even taken durability into account, and the aerodynamic shape was also incredible too. And now it's finally decided that Toma Bordeaux has passed the master certification exam. Albus remembered from the past loop, approximately 3 years from now, in the dwarven nation of the Magic Continent. He met a traveling blacksmith whose skills were so exceptional that even the dwarves revered him. That was his first encounter with Toma. Albus told him that his craftsmanship is really astounding, then he asked where he had been all this time. Toma answered that he spent a long time in the guild. But he never dared to test his skills, and it also took him a long time to leave the guild. Albus asked him why. He answered that he just truly admired craftsmen. When he was still 7 years old, he left his family to apprentice at the Blacksmiths Guild. Everyone was stern and busy, constantly honing their craft. Every day, he learned by mimicking their work. Their dedication and skill captivated him. He truly admired the craftsmen. So much that he stopped thinking about standing alongside them. And later, he realized that there was nothing to fear, really. Fiona asked Albus if he knew all along about Toma's incredible talent. Well, of course he did. 3 days ago, before he began his crafting, he told Toma the words of the Toma he met in his future. And so, he told him not to be afraid. What Toma said in his previous loop was, no matter how much reverence he felt, in the end, his strongest drive was what pushed him forward, and that is his desire to craft. So as long as he follows his heart, he'll be fine. Because in his previous loop, he was already a renowned craftsman. And so, after the exam, Toma showed it to Albus. He inspected it and saw that it doesn't look much different, but its performance should have improved quite a bit. Albus also said that he can feel the strength in it. Really nice work. The craftsman suddenly called him. He realized that truly, there was nothing to fear. When he became a master, they were genuinely happy for him. But then they also scolded him, because he could have started sooner. Toma asked Albus how he knew so much about the future. Well, he had no choice now but to tell him about the loop he's been going through. The next day, they went to the market. Loro asked them if they also felt excited about today, then Fiona saw something. She saw some barren carrots. Loro asked what it was. Fiona told him that this vegetable is a specialty of her hometown, and she's surprised that these veggies are here too. The merchant told her that they're rare around here. He bought them from a traveling merchant. Fiona said that she can finally make that, which got Albus and Loro confused. She told them that she's going to be cooking dinner tonight, and they're having boko hot pot for dinner. Loro wondered what a boko hot pot is. She told them it's a traditional dish from her hometown. It's delicious, easy to make, and full of nutrients. It'll also warm them up too. Loro noticed that Albus' expression wasn't good, so he asked him why he was making that face. Albus told him he just remembered something. Loro thought that just the other day, he learned that Albus has been looping through this journey multiple times. And if that's true, then that reaction just now was pretty disturbing. So he thought that maybe Fiona's boko hot pot dish could be horrible and weird. Fiona told them that she's going to gather all the ingredients now. Loro couldn't get that weird picture out of his mind and he just hoped it'll be okay. In the monastery where Fiona grew up, the sisters used to make this a lot. Sometimes they'd cook it together, and they would always eat together. It's a taste full of memories for her. Loro asked what she was doing. She told him that she's blanching Herod's fruit. Loro said that it turned into something like a witch's cauldron so quickly. Fiona told him that she's just getting rid of the black scum, so it's fine. Albus told him to stop complaining and just move his hands. He was surprised that Albus was actually helping out. Albus told him that cooking is all about efficiency and saving time. Loro couldn't believe that he's actually talking like a pro right now. She then gave them some of the vegetables. Fiona was glad that they're helping her peel them. So now she starts the fire to heat the pot. Then she puts in all the ingredients and vegetables until the boko hot pot is ready. Now it's all done. It's called boko hot pot because of the chopped vegetables floating around. It's a traditional dish from the northern continent. Loro thought that it didn't look so bad, then he tasted it. It turned out to be so good and Loro liked it. Fiona was happy that he liked it. The soft and flaky vegetables with the perfectly salted broth, Loro thought it was really comforting food. Fiona also ate her share but then remembered something. Looks like she was really bothered by it. Albus also noticed it. But they continued to enjoy their meal that day. Then nighttime came. As Loro was already asleep and snoring loudly, Albus asked Fiona what was bothering her. So Fiona told him about the boko hot pot earlier. She thinks that it didn't taste quite like what she was expecting. And she really thought she remembered the recipe perfectly, but she can't figure out where she went wrong. Now she can't sleep just thinking about it. Of course, Albus already knew about this. Then he told her that memories can be unreliable sometimes, or something must have been off. But he thinks that it's totally fine and tasted great. But Fiona felt sad about it, that it kind of feels like she has forgotten how it tastes. Albus didn't know what to say to her. Then he remembered something from his past loop. After he defeated the Demon King, he went to Fiona's hometown and visited the monastery where she grew up. He told her teacher Byron that he couldn't protect Fiona. Of course, Byron understood him. In fact, he was grateful he brought this staff back to him. As mentor to that child, he really appreciated it. That child had done her duty well. Byron asked if the Demon King was really defeated. Albus couldn't hide how sad he was, even though he had defeated the Demon King. It didn't feel right without Fiona by his side. That night, they invited Albus for dinner and they served him the boko hot pot. The nun said it must have been cold for him, so this might help warm him up. Albus told the nun he had had Fiona make boko hot pot for him before, though she didn't seem satisfied with how it turned out. Then Albus ate the hot pot. The nun asked him how it tasted. He said that it tastes exactly the same and maybe Fiona didn't remember it wrong at all. The nun smiled and said memories can sometimes be vague after all, and if the taste she remembered was better, they must have left her with good memories, which she really hopes. Albus looked at the nun as she entered her room crying over Fiona's death. Even he himself understood how it felt without Fiona. Albus told Byron that there's actually something else that he wanted to ask. Byron asked what it was that he wanted to ask. Albus said that it's about Fiona's brother. Back to the present, Albus smiled at her and told her everything's going to be fine. They should first defeat the Demon King and return home so they'll taste the boko hot pot in the monastery. He promised himself that no matter what it takes, he will make sure to bring her back. Fiona told him that if that happens, she'll invite him to join them in the monastery.